inflation is still lingering and very annoying to many of us, like a house guest that just won't go away and just can't make and take a hint. As a result, some people are tapping into their 401ks early to make ends meet. It may sound like a quick fix for short funds, but it comes with a significant cost. Our guests are here on The Factor Uncensored tonight. We're talking dollars and cents. We have with us Lavera Prestige. She's the financial expert with Ameriprise Financial Services. And we have Jeroyle Jackson, who's living life. So, Jeroyle, we're going to begin with you. Obviously, some tough financial times for everyone in this country when it comes to inflation and the high interest rates we're seeing. And you had to make a sacrifice or make a decision that many people are considering at this time, and that's going into your 401k. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a difficult decision for me to make. We're all trying to, put away those little nest eggs for the future and whatnot. But with the kind of the crisis that we're in with the economy, inflation being what it is, you get these emergency kind of repairs, you get anything that happens with your children, your house, your car, and you kind of have to borrow from it. I was in that position myself. I had been stacking up for a good 10 years since college with my 401k. And I had to go in and take out a loan from my 401k. It wasn't an easy process. They did tax me in the process of taking it out. And, that's going to be something I have to make up for in the future.
And do you see a way of catching up, depending on how much you took? And we're not asking the amount, but will it take a lot of work to get back to where you were?
It will take some time and some work to kind of to rebuild what I took out. Luckily, I'm kind of on the younger side, so I do have a little bit more time to do it. But it still does keep me up at night, though.
And Lavera, this is reality for many people out there. Obviously, as a financial expert, you would say let that be the last resort. Don't touch that 401k money. But a lot of people are still going through a tough time.
Absolutely. I think the challenge is to understand the impact, because that really should also be part of your decision-making process. For example, if you are taking money from an old 401k for a company you no longer work for, then you're going to be taxed with ordinary income taxes and a penalty, because you can't borrow from a 401k that you're not actively participating in. Mm-hmm. If you're currently working with that employer, they do allow you to take money out and pay it back through payroll. But what that also means is your current expenses will now suffer, because, you usually have a time frame on when you can pay it back. Some people will say, well, you're paying yourself back interest, but not really. You're giving up the opportunity for those dollars to continue to grow. Mm-hmm. So the impact is long term. So I think you do have to make it a last resort. There are some situations where it makes sense to borrow. You're buying a home. If you're having some health issues, then you will be able to bypass some of those penalties, but you have to be careful when you're making that decision.
And Lavera, when we're talking about the taxes, how much are we talking about? 10%, 20%, 30%, whatever it may be?
Yeah, so the penalty is 10%, and you pay ordinary income taxes over and above what you would normally pay. So let's say if your income is $100,000 a year and you take another $100,000 from your 401k, then that's a $200,000 tax bracket that you're now paying taxes in, plus the 10% over the 100. So it can add up really quickly. And so that's another part of the decision making, because if you think you have $100,000 at your disposal to spend, you really don't, because taxes and penalty also needs to come out of that. And so it can add up pretty quickly.
One of the things Jeroyle mentioned was, he said he's still young and he can make that up. Do you truly ever make that up?
If you have the discipline, you can make that up. I would say you've got to figure out how to avoid the situation that you found yourself in, number one, but also that you still need to contribute at the rate that you were originally contributing and some to make that up. So yes, being younger, that actually gives him an advantage. Unfortunately, a lot of people pull from their 401ks within 5 to 10 years of retirement. That's when it really hurts.
And Jeroyle, do you feel like you can do that? You can do the extra work, put in the extra dollars in order to bring it back up to where you were at some point? Or are you going to try your best?
Well, I'm currently trying my best, but I think I'm I'm pretty disciplined enough to kind of stay the course to kind of do everything that Lavera just said about putting it back in. I know that it is taken away from my budget currently, as she just pointed out. She is not incorrect about that, and so yeah, it is taking a little bit more discipline, but I think I can do it.
All right. Lavera Prestige, financial expert from Ameriprise Financial Services,
Yes.
LLC. Thank you for joining us and for your advice for our viewers
Thank
out
you.
there.